There comes a time in every badly constructed boy's life when he has a raging desire to somewhere and need for hidden treasure. This desire suddenly came upon Tom one day. He set out to find you harpoon, with fail of success. Next he saw Ben Rogers. He had gone fishing. Presently he stumbled upon Hook Finn, red-handed. Hood would answer. Tom took him to a private place and opened the matter to him confidentially. Hood was willing. Hood was always willing to take a hand in any enterprise that offered entertainment and recreational capital. For when he had a troublesome superabundance of that sort of time, which is not money. Where would it? Said Hood. Almost anywhere. Why is it all around? No, if you need it ain't. It hid in many particular places, Hood sometimes on the island, sometimes in written chests under the end of a limb or along the tree. Just where the shadow falls at midnight, but mostly under the floor in a haunted houses. Who hides it? Why, robbers of course. Who you reckon soon is called superintendents? I don't know. If it was mine, I wouldn't hide it. I spend it and have a good time. So would I, but robbers don't do that way. They always hit it and leave it there. So they come after it and more. No, they think they will, but they generally forget the marks or else they die. And anyway, it lays there a long time and gets rusty, and by and by somebody pulls a non-yellow paper that tells how to find the marks, a paper that's got to be ciphered over the past week because it's mostly signs and hieroglyphics. Which hieroglyphics, pictures and things you know that don't seem to mean anything. Have you got one of them papers now? No. Well then, how are you going to find the marks? I don't want to find any marks. They always bury in either a haunted house or on an island, or under the debris that got one limb sticking out. Well, we've tried the exit island a little, and we can try it again sometime. There's the old haunted house of the Steel House branch, and there's lots of them Limb Street. There are lots of them. Is it all of them? How you doubt? No. Then how are you going to know which one to go for? Go for all of them. Why, Tom? You take all summer. Well, what of that? Suppose you find a brass pot with $100 in it, all rusty and gray, or rotten chest full of diamonds. How's that? Case glow. That's bullying. Let bully not for me. Just you give me the $100 and I don't want no diamonds. Alright, but I bet you it ain't noticed the true of a diamond. Some of them were $20 a piece. There's it ain't any hardly but worth 6 bits of a dollar. No, is that so? Surely anybody tell you so. In the end you sit one hug? No, as all I remember. Well, I don't know no Kingston, I reckon you don't. But if you was go to Europe, you'd see a raft of them hopping around. Do they hop? Hop, you running no. Well, that did you say they did for? Should see only mean you see them, not hopping, of course. What do they do want to hop for? Does that mean you just see them scattered around, in a kind of general way? Then that old cat come back to Richard. Richard, what's your name? He didn't have any other name. Kids don't have any but a given name, no? But they don't. Well, if they like it, I'm all right. But then I want to be a king and have only used a given name, like a nigger. But say, where are you going to dig first? Well, I don't know. Suppose we gather that I don't live free on the hill tower side of Steelhouse Branch. I'm agreed. So they took a creepy pig and a shovel and they set up the 3 mile tramp. They arrived front painting and chairs themselves down in the side of the neighboring home to rest and have a smoke. I like this same Tom, so do I. Say, how can we find a treasure here? What you going to do with your chair? Well, I'll have a pie and a glass of soda every day, and I go to every circus to Jerusalem. I'll bet I have a good time. Well, ain't you going to save any of it? Save it what for? Why so confused to simply by and by? Oh, that ain't any use, but would you come to Treasure Town someday and get this loud softly if I didn't hurry up? And let you get clean up and wake what you do with your yarn, Tom? I'm going to buy a new drum and search it to shore, and a red Nicky and a bourbon and get married. Married, that's it. Tom, you what you ain't in your right mind, but you'll see. Well, that's the foolish thing you could do. Look at Pap and my mother fight. Why they used to fight at the time, I remember mighty well. That ain't anything. The girl I want to marry won't fight. To marry come they're all alike. They're all come a body, now you better think about that one. I'll tell you, you better. What's the name of the gal? It ain't the gal that, it's a girl.
It's all the same. I'll clown. Some says girl, some says girl. But like, Like enough. Anyway, what's her name? Tom. I'll tell you sometime. Not now. Alright, that'll do. Only if you get married, I'll be more lonesomer than ever. No, you won't. You'll come and live with me. No stir out of this and we'll go to the digging. They worked and sweated for half an hour. No result. They toiled another half hour. Still no result. Hood said, "Do they always bury it as deep as this?" "Sometimes. Not always. Not generally. I reckon we haven't got the right place." So they choose a new spot and begin again. The labor dragged a little, but still they made progress. They picked away in silence for some time. Finally Hood leaned on his shovel, swept the beaded drops from his brow with his sleeve and said, "Where you going to dig next after we get this one?" "Alton maybe. Well, totally the whole tree that's over yonder on Tardif Hill back of the windows. And reckon that be a good one. But won't the window take it away from us, Tom? It's on her land. She take it away. Maybe she'd like to try it on. Whoever finds one of these hid treasures, it belongs to him. It don't make any difference whose land it's on." That was satisfactory. The work went on. By and by Hood said, "Blame it. We must be in the wrong place again. What do you think?" "It is mighty curious. Hood, I don't understand it. Sometimes witches interfere. I reckon maybe that's what's the trouble now. Church witches ain't got no power in the daytime." "Well, that's true. I didn't think of that. Oh, I know what the matter is. What a blamed lot of fools we are. You got to find out where the shadow of the line falls at midnight, and that's where you dig." Then Tom sounded it. We've floated away at this world for nothing. Now, behind it all, we got to turn back in the night. It's an awful long way. Can you get out?" "I bet I will. We've got to do it tonight, too, because if somebody sees these holes they'll know in a minute what's here and they'll go for it." "Well, I'll come around and mow tonight." "All right, let's hit the tools in the mailboxes." The boys were there that night. About the appointed time, they sat in the salon waiting. It was a lonely place, an hour made solemn by old traditions. Spirits whispered in the rustling leaves, was lurked in the murky nooks. The deep baying of a hound floated up out of the distance, and all answered with his sepulchral note. The boys were soothed by these solemnities and talked lightly. By and by they had the 12 had come. They marked where the shadow fell, and began to dig. Their hearts commenced to rise. Their interest went stronger, and their industry kept pace with it. The whole deepened, and still deepened, but every time their hearts jumped to hear the pit strike upon something. They only suffered a new disappointment. It was only a stone or a shunt. At last Tom said, "It ain't any use. Hook, we're strong again. Well, but we can't be warned. We spout the satyr to a dude. I know it, but then there's another thing." "What's that?" "Why, we only wished at the time. Late enough it was too late or too early." Hood dropped his shovel. "That's it," said he. "That's the very trouble. We got to give this one up. We can't ever tell the right time, and besides this kind of things to unfold here this time of night with witches and was a fluttering around so. I feel as if something's behind me all the time, and I'm afraid to turn around. The truth maybe there's other in front waiting for a chance. I've been trapping all over, ever since I got here. Well, I've been pretty much too. Good. They must always put in a dead man when they bury a treasure under a tree to look out for it. Nerdy. Yes, they do. I've always heard that. Tom, I don't like to fool around much where there's dead people. A body's bound to get into trouble with hands sure. I don't like to stir him up either. Suppose this one here was to stick his stool out and say something. Don't, Tom. It's awful. Well, it just is. Hoot, I don't feel comfortable a bit. Say, Tom, let's give this place up and try somewhere else. All right, I reckon we better. What it be? Tom considered a while and then said, "The haunted house. That's it. Blame it. I don't like haunted house. Tom, why, there other side worsen dead people. Dead people might talk, maybe, but they don't come sliding around." in a throat when you ain't noticing and peep over your shoulder all of a sudden and with there that the way I was does. I couldn't attend such a thing as that. Done. Nobody could. Yes, but Hook was done travel around only at night. They won't hinder us from digging there in the daytime. Well, that's true. But you know, Misty, well, people don't go about that hunt house in the day nor the night. Well, that's mostly because they don't like to go where a man's been murdered. Anyway, but nothing's ever been seen around that house except in the night. You saw blue lights sleeping by the windows, not regular ones. Well, where you see one of them blue lights flickering around town, you can bet there's a was mighty close behind it. It stands to reason. But could you know that they don't anybody but was use M? Yes, that's true. But anyway, they don't come around in the daytime. So what's the use of our being affair? Well, alright. Well, totally the haunted house if you say so, but I reckon it's taking chance. They had started on the hill by this time. There in the middle of the moonlit valley below them stood the haunted house, utterly isolated, its fence gone long ago, run with smoldering the very doorsteps, the chimney trembled to ruin, the window service vacant, a corner of the roof caved in. The boys waited a while, half expecting to see a blue light flit past a window. Then, talking in a low tone, as befitted the time and the circumstance, they stood for off to the right to give the haunted house a good bar, and took their way homeward through the woods that adorn the rearward side of Cardiff Hill.
Above noon the next day, the boys arrived at the dead tree. They had gone for their tolls. Tom was impatient to go to the haunted house. Hook was miserably so also, but suddenly sighed. Lucky here, Tom. Do you know what day it is? Tom mentally ran over the days of the week and then quality life that his eyes could start look in them. My, I never once thought of it, Hunk. Well, I did not neither, but all at once it popped onto me that it was Friday. Blame it, a body cannot be too careful. Hook. We might go into an awful scrape. Tackling such a thing on a Friday. Mike, better say we would. There's some lucky days, maybe, but Friday ain't. Any fool knows that. I don't know recount you was the first that found it out, Hunk. Well, I never said I was, did I? And Friday ain't all neither. I had a rotten bad dream last night. Dreamt about rats. No sure sign of trouble. Did they fight? No. Well, that's good, Hunk. When they don't fight, it's only a sign that there's trouble around. You know, all we got to do is to look mighty sharp and keep out of it. We'll drop this tank for today and play. Do you know Robin Hood? Hunk? No. What is Robin Hood? Why? He was of the greatest man that was ever in England, and the best. He was a robber. Crackly. I wish I was. What did he rob? Only sheriff and bishops and rich peoples and kings and such life, but he never bothered the poor. He loved them. He always divided up with perfectly square. Well, he must have been a brave. I bet you he was hung. Oh, he was the noblest man that ever was. They ain't not any such men now. I can tell you. He could lick any man in England with one hand tied behind him, and he could take his AJ bow and blue and 10-cent pies every time, a mile and a half. What's a U-boat? I don't know. It is some kind of a bow, of course. And if he hit that time only on the edge, he would sit down and cry and curse. But we all play Robin Hood. It is not be fun. I'll learn you. I am agreed. So they played Robin Hood all the afternoon. No, and then casting a yearning eye down upon the haunted house and passing a remark about the morrows, prospects, and possibilities there. Has the sun begun to sink into the west? They took their way homeward, athwart the long shadows of the trees, and some were buried from sight in the forest of Cardiff Hill. On Sundays, shortly after noon, the boys were at the theatre again. They had a smoke and a chat in the shade, and then dug a little in their last hole. Not with great hope, but merely because Tom decided there were so many cases where people had high up a race after getting down within 6 inches of it, and then somebody else had come along and turned it up with a single to roost of a shovel. The thing failed this time, however, so the boys shouldered their tools and went away, feeling that they had not trifled with fortune, but had fulfilled all the requirements that belong to the business of treasure hunting. When they reached the haunted house, there was something so queer and grisly about the dead silence that regained there under the vacuum and something so depressing about the loneliness and desolation of the place that they were afraid for a moment to venture in. Then they crept to the door and took a trembling peep. They saw a well floorless room, unplastered, an ancient fireplace, vacant windows are windows, staircase, and here, there, and everywhere, wrecked and abandoned cobwebs. They presently entered softly with kickened pulse, talking in whispered airs, alert to catch the slightest sound, and muscle tense and ready for instant retreat. In a little while, familiarly modified their fare and they gave the place a critical and interested examination. Water admiring their own boldness and wondering at it too. Next, they wanted to look upstairs. This was something like cutting off retreat, but they got to daring each other. And of course, there could be but one result. They tried their toe into a corner and made the ascent. Up there were the same signs of the kind. In one corner they found a closet that promised mystery, but the promise was a fraud. There was nothing in it. Their courage was up now and well in hand. They were about to go down and begin work when sat down. What is it? Whispered Hung, branching with fresh heat. There, hear it. Yes. Oh my. Let's run. Keep it still. Don't you boot. They're coming right toward the door. The boys stretched themselves upon the floor with their eyes to nostrils in the planking and lie waiting in a misery of fear. They be stopped. No coming. Here they are. Do not whisper another word. Hung. My goodness. I wish I was out of this. Two men entered. Each boy said to himself, "There's the old, the off and doom Spaniard that's been about ounce or twice literally. Never saw other men before. I out there was a wretched, unkempt creature with nothing very pleasant in his face. The Spaniard was grabbed in a he had bushy white whiskers, long with hair lowered from under his sombrero, and he wore green goggles. When they came in, the other was talking in a low voice. They sat down on the ground, facing the door, with their backs to the wall, and the speaker continued his remarks. His manner became less guarded, and his words more distinct as he proceeded. "No," said he, "I thought it all over, and I don't like it. It's dangerous." "Dangerous?" growled the deaf and dumb Spaniard to the vast sprays on the voice. "Milksop." This voice made the boys gasp and quack. It was injurious. There was silence for some time. Then Joy said, "What's any more dangerous than that job up yonder?" But nothing come of it. "That's different. Away up the river so, and not another house about. There won't ever be known that we're tried. Anyway, long as we didn't suicide. Well, that's more dangerous than coming here in the daytime. Anybody's false suspicion would saw us. I know that, but there weren't any other place as handy after that full of a job. I want to get this shanty. I wanted of yesterday. Only it weren't any use trying to Sawyer out of here. With those infernal boys playing over there on the high right in full view. Those infernal boys quacked again under the inspiration of this remark, and thought how lucky it was that they had remembered it was Friday and concluded to wait a day. They wished in their hearts they had waited a year. The two men got out some food and made a luncheon after a long and thoughtful silence. Injun Joy said, "Look here, lad. You go back up the driver where you belong. Wait there till you hear from me. I'll take the chance on dropping into this town just once more for a look. We'll do that dangerous job after I've spaced around a little and things look well for it. Then for Texas, we all left it together. This was satisfactory, but Mem presently fell to yawning, and Injun Joe said, "I am dead for sleep. It's your turn to watch." He curled down in the wet, and some began to snore. His comrade stared him once or twice, and he became quiet. Presently the watcher began to know. His head dropped low and lower, but men began to snore now. The boys drew a long, grateful breath Tom whispered, "Knows or change come." Hunt said, "I cannot allow the if they was to wake." Tom urged, Hunt held back. At last Tom rose slowly and softly and started alone, but the first step he made grew such a hideous cry from the crazy floor that he sank down almost dead with fright. He never made a second attempt. The boy lay there counting the dragging moment that it seemed to them that time must be done, and eternity growing grey. And then they were graceful to note that at last the sun was setting. Now one snored, gazed, enjoyed, sat up, stared around, smiled grimly upon his comrade whose head was dropping upon his knees, stirred him up with his foot and said, "Here you are, a watchman, aren't you? All right, though nothing happened. My have I been asleep?"
Oh, partly, nearly time for us to be moving part. What we do with what little swag we've got left. I don't know, leave it here as we've always done. I reckon we used to take it away till we start salt. 650 in silver something to carry. Well, alright, it won't matter to come here once more. No, but it said, coming the night as we used to do, it's better. Yes, but look here, it may be a good while before I get a right chance at the job. Accidents might happen. Time in such a very good place will just regularly bury it and bury deep. Good idea, said the comrade, who walked across the room, knelt down, raised one of the rearward hearthstones, and took out a bag that jingled pleasantly. He subtracted a friendly 20 and $30 for himself and as much for Injun Joe and passed the bag to the latter, who was on his knees in the corner now digging with his bowie knife. The boys forgot all their fears, all their miseries in an instant. With gloating eyes, they watched every movement. Look, the splendor of it was beyond all imaginations. $600 was money enough to make half a dozen boys rich. Here was treasure hunting under the happiest auspices. There would not be any bothersome uncertainty as to where to dig. They would not get each other every moment. Eloquent nudged and easily understood for they simple means. Oh, but ain't you glad now we're here? Joe's knife struck upon something. Hello, said he. What is it? Said his comrade, half rotten plank. No, it's a box. I believe here, bear and ham, and we'll see what is it's here for. Never mind if broken a hole. He reached his hand in a drew it out. Man, it's money. The two men examined the handful of coins. They were gold. The, the boys above were as excited as themselves and as delighted. Joe's comrade said, "We'll make quick work of this. There's an only old rusty pick over amongst the weeds in the corner, the other side of the fireplace. I saw it a minute ago." He ran and brought the boy's pick and shovel in Joe took the pick, looked it over critically, shook his head, muttered something to himself, and then began to use it. The box was some unhurted. It was not very large. It was iron-bound and had been very strong before the soldiers had endured it. The men contemplated the treasure a while in blissful silence. "Par, there's thousands of dollars here," say in Junjo. To us, always say the moral gang used to be around here. One summer the stranger observed it. "I know it," say in Jojo, and this looks like it. I should say, "No, you want me to do the job." The half-breed frowned, say he, "You don't know me. Lest you don't know all about that thing. Tain't robbery altogether, it's revenge." And a wicked light flamed in his eyes. "I'll need your help it. When it's finished, then 10 taxes go home to your nuns and your kids, and stand by till you hear from me." "Well, if you say so, what what we do we do with this?" Bury it again. "Yes, ravishing the light over here, no. By the great sunshine, no. Profound distrust overhead. It nearly forgot that pig had fresh earth on it." The boys were sick with terror in a moment. "What business has a pick and shovel here? What business with fresh earth of them? Who brought them here? And where are they gone? Have you heard anybody? Seen anybody? What? Buried again and leave them to come and see the ground disturbed?" "Not exactly, not exactly. What take it to my den?" "Why, of course. Might have thought of that before. You mean number one?" "No, number two, under the cross. The other place is bad. Too common. All right, it's nearly dark now to start." And Jojo got up and went about from window to window, cautiously peeping out. Presently he said, "Who could have brought those tools here? Do you reckon they can be upstairs?" The boy's breath forsook them, and Jojo put his hand on his knife, halted a moment undecided, and then turned it toward the stairway. The boys thought of the closet, but there, strange was gone. The steps came creaking up the stairs. The intolerable distress of the situation woke the striking resolution of the lads. They were about to spring for the closet when there was a crash of rotten timbers, and in Yo-Yo landed on the ground amid the debris of the ruined stairway. He gathered himself up cursing, and his comrade said, "No, what's the use of all that? If it's anybody and they're up there, let them stay there. Who cares? If they want to jump down now and get into trouble, who objects? It will be dark in 15 minutes, and then let them follow us if they want to. I'm willing, in my opinion, however, hope to things in her caught a sight of us and took us for ghosts or devils or something. I'll bet they're running yet." Joey grumbled a while, then he agreed with his friends that what daylight was left out to be economized in getting things ready for leaving. Shortly afterward, they slipped out of the house in the deepening twilight and moved toward the river with their precious books. Tom Hawk rose up, weak but vastly relieved, and stared after them through the chinks between the logs of the house followed. No day they were counting to reach ground again without broken necks and take the tower track over the hill. They did not talk much. They were too much absorbed in hating themselves, hating till luck that made them take the spade and the pick there. But for that Jojo never would have suspected. He would have hidden the silver with the gold to wait there till his revenge was satisfied, and then they would have had the misfortune to find that money turned up missing. Bitter, bitter luck that the tools were ever brought her. They resolved to keep a lookout for the Spaniard when he should come to town, spying out for chance to do his revengeful job, and follow him to number two, whatever that might be. Then a ghastly thought occurred to Tom. Revenge? What if he means use? Huck? Oh, don't say Huck, nearly fainting. They talked it all over, and as they entered town, they agreed to believe that he might possibly mean somebody else, at least that he might at least mean nobody but Tom. Signs only Tom had testified. Very, very small comfort it was to Tom to be alone in danger. Company would be a palpable improvement, he thought.